was it to see your name pop up rather late to the bracket reveal against Washington there in the first round, which looks like April 27th down there at the Sportsplex in Matthews, North Carolina?
Well, it was kind of an edge of your seat experience, right? You know, the one team, then another team, then another team, and you know, so the girls were on edge, and we were sweating a little bit there, waiting for that name to pop up. But very exciting time for them. Great experience for sure.
Yes. How would you say your team is playing right now? I mean, obviously coming off the championship. I mean, just the way that they've been able to elevate their play, you know, and make this kind of a run. I mean, what's led to that?
Well, it's a God thing for sure. I mean, there's really no other way to talk about it. I mean, we've had, obviously, the COVID season this spring has been odd for everybody. We've had just a ton of injuries. We were a young team to begin with. Just a lot of odd things have been happened. Games canceled, games moved. Not getting a lot of breaks through the course of the season. You know, every day I dreaded that phone call from my athletic trainer telling me who else was going to be out of practice for the day. But to these girls' credit, I think the greatest thing about this season is how they've persevered. Their relentless mentality to keep coming every day, even when it seemed kind of dark. With some of the results we were getting, I couldn't be more proud of them, and they really fought at the end to have this opportunity.
Jermaine?
Coach, first of all, congratulations on winning that conference title and getting a bid in the NCAA tournament. I gotta ask you, where did you feel that things was really clicking? Because I mean, your team got hot at the right time. Where did you feel and know that, hey, this team can make a run to an Atlantic Sun title and into the NCAA tournament?
I think that belief was always there. I think there was certainly a lot of frustration when we weren't getting some of the results that we felt like we were capable of through the course of the season. But the belief was always there. I mean, we were always in it with the teams we were playing. I mean, obviously, the second Lipscomb score aside, you know, every game was hard, and we had opportunities in each of those games. As I said, the breaks just weren't really coming our way. I think also we got a couple players off the injured reserve list, McKinley Burkett being one of those, which played a huge role in our run there. So I think that those two combinations of just that relentless mindset and the opportunity to play in the tournament with a few people coming back really spurred us on.
Hello, Coach. So your team faced a lot of adversity in the ASUN tournament, I'd say, beating two #1 seeds. How do you feel like that'll help you out in this upcoming tournament?
Well, again, I think that there was nobody that had a more difficult path to that championship game. As you talked about, first we had to play the play-in game against North Alabama and win that. And then, you know, a day later we had to go on the road and play the #1 Lipscomb at their place, a place they hadn't lost a conference game in 2 years. And then try to beat them. Then we had to travel all the way back, and then 2 days later turn around and drive, you know, all the way to Atlanta, where all of these other teams, North Florida, Lipscomb, Kennesaw, they all got to host those first games. So not only are we traveling all over the coast, but we're also having to go and play the best teams. And so beating Lipscomb as the #1 seed, beating North Florida, who was 10-1 and hadn't lost an ASUN game all season, and then turning around and playing Kennesaw State on their home field, who didn't travel at all over the last week and a half. It comes back to that resiliency of the players and just their belief that they were going to find a way through, and that's what we really hung our hat on.
When you look at the playability of Giroux through this run and throughout the entire season, how much of a stability has she been back there at goalie, even through the bad times of just making sure the team stayed steady and just that reassuring presence of the experience that she's had through her time at Liberty, that she's been able to be a rock back there and, you know, be solid and record those shutouts in the tournament to get you to this point?
Well, sure. So we really there were times through the course of the season where Mel, and then our center back and co-captain Cora Dunnick. I mean, they were the only two experienced players on the whole field. And so their leadership through this, their ability to keep the team positive and moving in the right direction through some of those difficult, adverse games, that was really key for us to have a positive mindset coming in. So, again, very, very proud of them for what they did on the field, but more proud of what they've done off the field and how they've led this program in their 4 years.
About playing Washington, I mean, how familiar are you with their program or just, West Coast soccer in general? I mean, I know you were kind of up around that way at one point, but how much do you know about their program, and how do you feel about the matchup you got?
Well, it's exciting because we're playing a team that we know nothing about, and after playing three ASUN teams 3 times in over a matter of a month and a half, we're kind of excited to play somebody new, I think, that's out of our conference. So we know that their conference is exceptional for women's soccer. They've been a great program for a long time and really set a standard up in the Northwest. So it's going to be a battle for sure. It's going to be a very difficult game, but we're excited about it. We're happy for this opportunity, and we'll start that research and trying to watch some of the games from this past season and prepare our game plan.
Yeah, does it help having about a week here to kind of hit the reset button a little bit, or would you like to keep riding that momentum?
Oh, I think it is good. I think that there's so much emotion that's been tied into the conference tournament that we've just come from, and certainly the dramatic way in which we won it. I think you also have the fact that, as I mentioned earlier, we've traveled so many miles in the last week and a half to Nashville and Atlanta and everywhere, and just before that to Louisville. So it's good that our players have a chance to kind of just rest, to go to class, to live a little bit of a normal life for a few days until we get in this tournament. And the fact that it's in North Carolina, I think, is great for us too. So it's not going to be a big trip for us, which will be nice.
Lenny, you mentioned that second Lipscomb game is kind of an aberration in the way you closed the regular season. I mean, even though you didn't win any of those last 6 matches, 3 ties and a couple games that were close. What do you feel like helped your team get over the hump in tournament play that you got to win and then all of a sudden build some momentum?
I really kind of go back to that last game against Bellarmine, and it was difficult playing situations. It was really windy that day. We had gone down 1-0. We'd come back and tied it. Gave up a fluke goal to go down 2-1. We were outplaying them, but again, we had so few breaks through the course of the regular season that there was just a little bit of that. Can we really score again? Can we get a second goal? Can we get a third goal? And when we scored in the last 2 minutes of that game to put into overtime, I think that was really a pivotal moment for my young team where they believed that they could come back, that they could compete, that they could make things happen. And you saw that whether it was holding on against Lipscomb or whether it's coming back. First of all, we went down 1-0 against North Alabama and came back with 4 goals. Then holding off Lipscomb at the end of the game when there was kind of a big push from them to try to equalize. Being able to score late against North Florida, and then, of course, in overtime. So I think that game for us was really pivotal for the rest of our season.